Well, I think there's difference between goal setting and resolutions. For me, resolutions.
Break it down. Let's hear it.
Everybody says resolutions. You go to the gym, you start eating healthy, you stop doing a bad habit or something like that. And resolutions are like, I gauge every year, like I got to the second week of January.
The
Den, powered by the Lyons Group, a show dedicated to exploring hot topics in real estate, local happenings, and industry trends. We're a small team of professionals approaching $400 million in sales and nearly 2,000 local transactions. You're listening to time-tested experts and industry leaders. Here's a refreshing look at real estate happenings and more. Welcome to the Den.
Okay, welcome to this episode of The Den, powered by the Lyons Group. We're excited to talk with you today about a very controversial topic because some people love and other people hate New Year's resolutions. But before we dive into that, I want to introduce my co-host and partners. Starting to my left, Paul, hand me the rock berry. Melissa, let's go Glasgow.
Let's go.
Let's go. Aspen, the ninja Gruen. And Shannon, the boss, Martin Martinez. Welcome to the next episode. And let's just dive right in. I know, how many of you all set resolutions, New Year's resolutions?
Yes.
Yep.
Sure. Intensely.
Across the board. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, some people see it as a big reset. That's probably how I feel. Like it's a time to like turn the page and just like wash that year away, but also celebrate what we've accomplished and whatnot. And other people are like, you get to the new year, so now you're going to go work out. Like, why weren't you working out, 6 months ago, type of thing. So I know it's a divisive topic, but hey, that's what we're here to talk about. Let's have some fun with it. We are going to discuss what we think is going to be a good New Year's resolution for you, the listener. But before we get to that, who wants to kick off a resolution that they have?
It's something that I've never thought about before until very, very recently. And that is, I want to invest in an additional property. I would like to have an investment piece. So by the end of 2024, I want to have something under my belt.
Let's go,
Great.
Glasgow.
Let's go.
Yes, I love that, especially if you're in the business. And there's a lot of realtors that listen to this podcast. And it took me years before I got into the game. But you need to be in the real estate game as soon as you can take that. But you got to dedicate some thought, some time, and like some strategy to it. It just can't be something flippant like, I'm going to go buy a house. Like what type of home, what type of investment, what type of, obviously you have your primary, you upgraded that this last year, which was fantastic. But what are your thoughts specifically about what you would like to see for an investment on your end, Melissa?
What I've been thinking is I want something like what I grew up in. So I want to keep my eyes open for, a Mossman home that, I can do some repairs to it. I am not ready for a total flip. It's just not in my toolbox yet. But I want something to where I can have something that will feel like a home to somebody and will be just a good, solid piece of property. You can raise your kids there. You can retire there. Yeah. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. And those single family investment properties, those typically where investors start. Yeah. Like single family, it's an easy thing to transition into before you start going into multifamily situation or even commercial space.
Right.
But then you kind of get that you have that excitement. It resonates with you, a house that you kind of grew up with. And for our listeners, a lot of you may not know what a Mossman home is, but someone talk about a Mossman home here.
Most of them are 50 years old.
Yeah, 50 plus, right?
Yeah. They're some of the first houses we had in our area. Yeah. And Mossman, I think, the name comes from the builder, obviously. But they built very solid houses. They're the houses that you see in the neighborhoods like San Juan Park area or Valley Grande area. They are, traditionally just a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, hardwood floors.
Beautiful hardwood floors.
Yeah.
It's a Mossman because the size of the wood slats.
Yes.
They're all the same.
Absolutely. If you try to buy wood floors these days, which I just recently tried to do, we were putting some flooring in a new house we're moving into. And I said, I just want to go with the real wood because that's what I have in my house. they don't make it like that anymore.
Yeah.
It is kind of a very thin engineered little piece of wood that they put over it. So whereas mine are about, an inch thick, and you can sand them and you can stain them, and you can sand them again, and you can fix things on them, and they have a lot of room to work on them. I was told actually that those newer ones, you maybe have like one sanding on them.
Oh, wow.
Where they had to be, they're just a tiny little piece.
If that, you don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, the quality is these days are not like what they were in a Mossman. They're very solid homes. I've sold real estate for almost 25 years now, and I haven't seen too many Mossmans that were really, destroyed, falling to the ground, cracking. I mean, I'm sure those things can happen, but they are very solid houses after all this time. No matter how they've been lived in, they're always in one piece.
Walls are square. Like, and if you look, how they put the decking on the roof, and it's just a 4x8 sheet. Like Mossman didn't do, he did like 2x6s. So like the decks of those roofs are incredible. Very well built home. But that's the type of home, Melissa, you're talking about. That's like a perfect kind of investment, entry level investment property.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you're planning on probably a 25% down payment. Can you talk a little bit about what your thoughts are there?
Yeah, I think that would be great to do a 25% down payment, or also maybe look into a real estate contract if that's available for somebody.
Yeah.
That would be really nice to walk into an investment with a real estate contract.
That's an excellent way to buy an investment.
That's owner financing.
Yeah. I was just going to say, if you want to add to that, because explain a little bit what owner financing is, that would be great. Aspen, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Owner financing is basically when the seller is going to act as the bank. So maybe if you listen to our last episode, we kind of talked about deferring taxes. So maybe they don't want to close on it till a little bit later, or a year or two later, or maybe even longer, depending. But basically, the seller is just acting as the bank. So you can negotiate with the seller on down payment, interest rate, all of the details, instead of working with a preset bank.
Yeah, it's a fantastic tool. I mean, really, I bought the majority of my properties on owner finance because I'm not having to put the 25% down as a traditional investment property. I can work directly with the seller. We still close it through a title company, still title insurance conveyed. There's deeds signed. So it's all done legit. It's all done above board. And it has to be the right situation for a buyer and a right situation for the seller who may want to make some interest. I mean, that's why banks have these huge buildings and make all this money, because they're making the front-loaded interest. And for a seller to do an owner finance, especially one that, carries a term for 2 to 5 years, they're going to make all of that interest. So it's really kind of a win-win if it's structured right.
Yeah.
But fantastic. So hopefully we can find you, or you'll find an investment property that makes sense, Melissa. That's fantastic. It's a great resolution. Who else wants to dive in on a resolution? You want me to go second?
Yeah.
I'll go second. Okay, so I want to parlay off of you. So I have several investment properties myself, but I want to move into a little bit bigger space. I want to do something more like a complex. An apartment complex, either here locally or out of state. I'm looking at a few different areas, but that requires structuring a deal that makes sense. It's more of a commercial loan, obviously what it very much is, a commercial loan. And there's a lot of facets to it. And it's really kind of fascinating to me. For me, at this stage in my career, 20 plus years in the business, I'm ready for that kind of next level of learning, exploring, doing type of things. So that's my resolution, is that to go out and acquire some form of a complex that is beyond a traditional duplex, fourplex type of scenario. So I'm rolling up my sleeves the next 12 months. But I do like the resolution because it just gives you that start, makes you focus on your goals, really think about it and go forward. Paul, what's your resolution this coming year?
Well, I think there's difference between goal setting and resolutions. I mean, for me, resolutions.
Break it down. Let's hear it.
Everybody says resolutions. You go to the gym, you start eating healthy, you stop doing a bad habit or something like that. And resolutions are like, I gauge every year, like I got to the second week of January.
Yeah.
Or the gym will get really busy through January and then fall off in February.
Yeah.
So I like the goal setting thing better, because it has a little bit more teeth in it for me. So I would consider it, instead of resolutions, goal setting.
What's your goal? I like that.
Acquiring properties as well, investment properties. As realtors, we don't really have the 401ks, the retirement planning.
Yep.
So real estate is kind of, the game. It's how we can set up for our future. So I'm going to try to pick up a couple more this year.
Okay. Single family or? multifamily? Or?
It feels like I'm focusing on multifamily right now.
Yeah.
I have a Mossman that I lived in for 15 years. We upgraded, and that's usually how people get into their first investment.
Yep.
Keep the original house as the investment property, as the rental. We picked up a couple properties this year, and hope to do the same in 2024.
I love it. And I like the distinction between resolution and a goal, right? I mean, it was you said that pretty well in the sense of resolution. Well, I made it 3 weeks this year. I was resolved to get to the gym. But a goal has a little bit more teeth to it. So I think resolutions turn into goals. Great point. Love that. Mm-hmm. Aspen, thoughts?
I do have a few investment properties, so always like to add on to that. I'm looking out of state as well. I'm just numbers. I try and set more vague goals for things like properties I'm purchasing or flips or Airbnbs or whatever they might be, because I don't want to buy something just to check hit the resolution. Because like you were saying,
Exactly.
I think real estate is one of the fastest ways to build wealth, but you can really get in over your head if you're not careful. So
very much.
So I would love to get some properties. Anyone who knows me, I am an intense goal setter. I have a 50-page book that I fill out every December, and it is specific. And so, yes, I have some, obviously, real estate goals, retirement goals, financial goals. But one thing that I'm really proud of is I did lose over 70 pounds, and I maintained that this last year. I would like
fantastic.
to do that
Yes,
again.
congratulations.
I don't want to be up and down. I want to just stay consistent. So not really real estate related, but a personal goal.
That's fantastic. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Shannon, your thoughts?
So listening to these two talk, this is exactly what I was kind of thinking of is when we talk about a resolution, we need them to be very specific. But sometimes it's good just to say, I'm going to start looking at my financial well-being. I'm going to start looking at my future. So maybe, like you said, you cannot just buy a property because you want to check it off your list. But you can say, I'm going to start this year watching the market. I'm going to start, I know that my long-term goal is to buy an investment property. Maybe it happens this year, maybe it happens next year, but I can start being smart about it. I can start watching the market. I can watch trends. I can see when maybe prices go up or down, when interest rates go up or down. I can start maybe getting with a lender and finding out what options I have available to me. You had a great point. Your first investment property is typically just moving out of your house you're already in. That is a great goal. Upgrade your family into a nicer house and have that investment instead of figuring out how do I come up with 25% down and turn around and buy something else. Maybe you can't do that right now. Maybe that's out of reach forever, So there are a lot of different ways to think of it. But I think if you look overall and just kind of set your sights on it and start learning how to make that happen, sometimes that's your first goal.
Yeah.
That's your first resolution is just let's start opening ourselves up to this and seeing what it looks like and doing the research. And that might take a year. That might take 2 years.
Yeah.
It might take you 2 months and you've got it figured out and you know what you want.
Yep.
But it doesn't always have to be marking it off the box.
Credit, saving.
Exactly.
Not necessarily investment property, but your first property.
Yes.
It's a huge goal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that come in between. So, sometimes that goal just needs to be, I'm just going to open myself up to these things and start learning about it. And eventually I'm going to be a property owner.
Yeah.
Eventually I'm going to get my own place.
Well, fantastic. I mean, you all just made 3 fantastic points. The first one is the fact that it's just, these are babies, like start with the baby steps, right? Just the fact that you want to be in the real estate space. If you do not own a home right now for your primary residence, that should be on your goal this next year for 2024. Be open to it. Start looking on Zillow or Realtor.com to go to sjcbroker.com, which we have the best search engine ever, and really check out these properties on the market. Just get your finger on the pulse, right? Talk to a realtor, talk to a lender, get pre-qualified. Now, the lender thing is always scary for people. People go in, they go, I don't want to go to the lender, so I go into the dentist, right? But let me tell you, once you do it, like that's the hardest part. Then it frees up this burden that you've unnecessarily put on your shoulders. Like this is so scary and daunting. All of a sudden you're pre-qualified or you have a path to being pre-qualified.
Exactly.
And that's fantastic. So the second point that you made was oftentimes you just turn your original home as you move up. So if you already own a home, move up to your next home and keep your original one as an investment property. That's a very easy way to begin stepping up, because the number one way to build wealth in America is what? through real estate. I mean, it's just the studies after studies after studies have come out, and that is the correlation between all wealth building millionaires or people that are wealthy have some aspect or form of real estate. So if that's your goal, some people don't care about that, and that's fine.
Yep.
But if your goal is to build wealth, real estate is the number one vehicle to do that, turning your primary residence into your first rental property. So if you own that, that's your first step. But it will also do two things. One is you'll gain that leg of real estate as an investment property, but you'll also realize, what is it like? What are the burdens like? You just checked a box. Do you like that box? Do you like being a property manager? Do you like managing your own? Do you like seeing someone living in your old home that may have been your first home and letting the yard go? So you have to understand those components as well. So 3 very good points there. So if you are in the game and looking to upgrade, that's a way to do it. But if you're looking to buy an investment property, what are some of the things that we should be thinking about? If you already own a property in your primary residence, you're happy, you don't want to upgrade, but you're looking for an investment property, what are some of the things you should be considering or thinking about?
I think number one, you need to get a realtor and you need a lender. You have to have both of those because they're going to help you stay on track. And with that, I do think you need a realtor and lender who are familiar with investments. There are so many secondary costs that you might not think of, especially if you're looking at a flip or, buying a house cheaper and doing some of the work yourself. I think you need to know, can you actually do the work that's needed? And then there's a lot of hidden costs. Does it need a new roof? Does it need electric? So I think and then also, are you going to flip it or are you going to rent it? You're going to flip it. You got to think, are you having any holding costs? Are you going to be paying your title fees, any commissions, anything like that? There's a lot of hidden costs that goes into moving real estate. So working with somebody, check box number 1 and box number 2, talk to somebody about it. And I know me, I'm sure you guys as well. If anyone asks me a question, I'm an open book. It's not secrets. And I think a lot of people get nervous talking to realtors. They're like, well, you're just going to get the good deals as soon as they come up. I know me personally, I have my investor list that I send to. And if a good deal comes up, doesn't happen, I don't think and I mean like a good deal. I'm putting it out to my investor list first. And then if no one wants it, then I'll go in.
Well, and that's what a professional does, right? They promote the client's interest above their own. But that brings up a good point, the fact that you need a professional on your side to walk you through these steps, to make you think about, because there's oftentimes I deal with people that have bought several homes and they come to me with a property and on the quick glance, I mean, just being in the business so long, I can do a quick underwriting in my head and go, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Or, you have some major upside here, but you got to consider this, that, and the other. And they go, we've considered this, that, and the other, and we're okay, let's rock and roll. So
I think working with both the realtor and lender too is really good because, like we said, most people get into their first investment property by living in it and then, upgrading and keeping the old house. That's not how I did it because I needed a little bit more money. So if you've been able to hold your property for a few years, and then you might need the cash for something else in your life, whether that's, kids schooling, daycare, paying off credit card debt, maybe you need a family car, whatever it might be.
Sure.
Maybe that's not your goal right away, but having a lender and really a lender in that regard, they'll be able to tell you, what, it actually makes more sense for you to sell. You can get a little bit nicer house. You can pay off some debt. You can do what you need to do and then save. More. Or maybe that house that you're living in now, that now you have no external debt besides, your mortgage, obviously. You can use that, live in it for 2 years, move on for that one. So working with someone with your options, there's so many options.
There really is. And things you're not even thinking about, things as realtors we don't think about from the lending standpoint, their lending perspective. So it's good to get all of those perspectives. And the rules and regulations change constantly, especially in the commercial arena or investment arena. Like the down payments move up and down. You've got access to ARMs, adjustable rate mortgages sometimes, and sometimes you don't. Just depends on how you fit in the box, and then those things open up. What about the BRRRR method?
Yes.
Yeah. So really, this is a fantastic tool to use. If this is the first time you're getting into investing, think about, this is called a BRRRR method, BRRR. Okay. You want to find a property that you can buy at a really good deal. Okay. So that means you don't want to go buy the best home on the block. You want to find a deal where it's a home that's subpar compared to the other homes on the street. That brings you to the second thing, and that is renovate. So you buy it, you renovate it. You renovate it to bring it up to speed with the rest of the homes in that area. And what does that do? That brings up the value. So at that point, you've put in this money. Let's say you've put in $50,000 into this property, okay? Then you can do the third R, which is refinance. So you've bought it at a good deal, you've renovated, you go in and you refinance and you pull your $50,000 back out, okay? And then you repeat. So that's the version.
There too, and you can rent it, get the income for the rental, show that to your lender, and they can refinance it based on the rental.
The rental. So there's a whole bunch of R's in that BRRRR method.
The one renovate that we have to talk about, that one R.
Yeah.
For first-time investors, it's not as easy as the home channel or the
Absolutely.
So if you go in and you think, well, I can just take down these 3 walls, add on this, solarium and it doesn't happen in a day.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. Usually the budgets they have, any realtor that's ever watched one of those shows goes, I wish I had that budget, because those are not, usually accurate. So when you get into it, talk to a professional, talk to a contractor, find a realtor that says, there is an upside to this.
Yeah.
If you can't get your money back out, those are the things that the professionals can help you with.
Yeah. I love those HGTVs. Like, what do you do? Well, I sell cotton candy. What's your budget? $1.5 million. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What are we doing here? But Paul, valid points, especially and I've had people that come to me and they've had like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and they wanted to open up one of the bedrooms and make a larger living area. And I go, don't.
Yeah.
Do not lose that 3rd bedroom. So please consult with a realtor that you trust. Get with a lender that you trust, because that's your team, right? They're going to help walk you through these. They're going to bring a different perspective, help you navigate these waters, so you really can make the right decisions.
And if you're doing a renovation or a flip, definitely have a contractor that you trust, that has some experience. And if you're going to do it yourself, make sure you have an out plan. Have that when you get to the point where you go, oh, I'm beyond my knowledge here. You have that call that you can make, and somebody can help you out. Because putting that huge investment in time and money, and then not being able to get it out, is the horror stories that we find. The money pits that are the why people don't invest. Just make sure that the professionals are at the ready.
Exit strategy is so critical. So critical. Any final thoughts in that regard? I know Melissa kicked us off. You want to round us up in that regard? If you're not in the game, get in the game.
Get in the game. Start building your generational wealth, and make sure you've got a team that behind you that that you're making the right decisions, with a realtor, with a lender. If you need to talk with your CPA, make sure you've got people that you really trust with that vital information.
We're on to speed round, and the speed round question today: your New Year's resolution. First of all, do you love them or hate them? And second of all, is it a good time to buy in 2024? Yes or no? Should someone add real estate to their portfolio? Shannon, the boss, Martin Martinez, kick us off.
You should always add real estate to your portfolio.
Check. Hold on a second.
It's always a good investment, yes. And if you're not 100% committed and ready to do that this year, just make it your New Year's resolution to start exploring the idea of it. Because if it's not this year, maybe it's next year. But it's always going to be the right move.
New Year's resolutions, love them. Big fan. I feel like even if you only do it for 3 weeks, at least you were great for those.
Yeah. You were resolved.
The best version of yourself.
Resolved for 3 weeks.
And then as far as good time to buy, if we're talking about specifically investment properties, if the numbers work, they work. That's kind of the bottom line for it.
Black and white.
Biggest, fastest way to build generational wealth.
Love it. Let's go.
Resolutions? Meh. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years I've said I'm going to quit Dr. Pepper, and still on it. Good time to buy in 24. Yes, it is. But if it's not quite right for you, start working on your financial wellness. Get with the lender. See what steps you need to take in order to make that purchase, whether it's your first time or if it's an investment piece. Just make sure that you're ready to go whenever the time is right.
Let's go. I love that. That is such great advice, Melissa. Thank you for that. Paul, hand me the rockberry. Finish us out here.
I think for resolutions, I think it's always a good idea to be intentional with what you want to do. If you need a day on the calendar to start that, then I guess January 1st is a good time because it's close. So I guess I love them for people that aren't goal-oriented throughout the year.
Yeah.
You get, like Aspen said, you get a couple
Start on Monday.
You get a good week. Or start right now.
Start right now. We have a running start.
I say. But good time to buy in 2024. I would say real estate is one of the only, year over year appreciable assets that you could buy. So it's never if it's a right deal, go for it. If it's a bad deal, you can always
ride it out.
Yeah, ride it out. Not, if the market's bad, you can ride it out. But I think 2024 is going to be a good time to buy.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay, on to the last section, which I have my favorite section of the Den. And this is where we highlight someone in the community that has really made an impact. As the Lyons Group, we love to give back to our community. We love to do things that involve helping organizations and people in our community, locals, get to the next level. And so we want to highlight someone that would include that pride, build our pride, the Lyons Pride, a little bit more. So Melissa, who is on your radar today?
Jaime Church with the Chamber of Commerce. She has done some wonderful things in our community. I think every quarter she puts something on for our community. Most recently, the Electric Light Parade for Christmas. You heard nothing but how wonderful it was this year. Yep. And I think it's a thankless job. And Jaime really does showcase our community very, very, very well. So, Jaime, we appreciate you. We love what you're doing, and for also supporting all of the local businesses as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Check out the Chamber of Commerce.
Absolutely. She has rolled her sleeves up in our local community, and it goes to show. I mean, the things that she touches and are involved with really stand out. So, Jaime, at the Lyons Group, we want to say thank you. We see you. We see all the wonderful things you're doing in our community, and we just want to tell you we appreciate you. Yes. So thank you for that, Melissa. Yes. Great choice there. We had a fantastic discussion on New Year's resolutions and goals, and hopefully you add real estate into your portfolio. And there's a number of reasons why you should and very few reasons why you shouldn't. So please partner up with a good realtor and a good lender and get yourself into the game and take some baby steps, right? So if you'd like to hear an episode or specific talking point, comment on this video and let us know your thoughts. Let us know good and bad and ugly. We like to hear it all. You can always ask a question or reach out to us at team@sjcbroker.com. Go to our Facebook page, the Lyons Group Four Corners, and like our page so you can hear all the happenings. And of course, you can go to sjcbroker.com and reach out to any one of us. We would love to have a consultation with you, whether you're buying or selling, you're an investor, whatever it is, get with us and we'll share our knowledge. We're open books. We love to work with the people in this community. Thank you for listening. Until the next time, we'll see you in the Den.
Thank you for listening to The Den, powered by the Lyons Group. Hit the subscribe button to keep informed on real estate happenings. If you'd like to learn more about the Lyons Group, visit sjcbroker.com. Complex markets require complex strategies. The Lyons Group can give you a true advantage in any market. Whether you're buying or selling, residential or commercial, contact us directly at sjcbroker.com. We're time-tested experts with a client-first approach, and we'll see you next time in the Den.